Hi everyone, it's me again. Welcome back if you're returning. Welcome for the first time if this is the first time you're watching anything from me, which wouldn't be hard seeing as this is only the second thing I've filmed. But I thought it would be a good time, early days, to answer some questions about myself so that the shroud of mystery is removed slightly. So I thought the best way to do it would be to do the newbie tag. And I've watched so many of these videos, and so hopefully this is somewhat interesting, even though it's a very popular tag that people do. So I've got questions here. I'm just gonna go through them and answer them, and hopefully this will be a nice quick video that you can just power through and not have to spend too much time on. Okay, so the first question is, why did you start this channel? And I think this is a multiple pronged answer from me. Number one, the same answer that everybody gives. I just really like reading. And I wanted to talk about books, and I was getting a bit bored of talking to myself about books. So I thought I would talk out loud to someone, anyone, who could watch me ramble rather than it was happening locked away in there. So that's prong number one. The second prong is that I have just finished my degree. I haven't technically graduated yet, so I'm still a student at the University of St Andrews, and I have been for the last 4 years. It's been simultaneously a long 4 years and a very quick 4 years. But I studied art history. I loved it. I love art, as pretentious as that may sound. But yeah, so I've just finished my final deadlines. I'm graduating next month, and so I just thought this would be something to do, really. Something that I enjoy doing, something that I'm happy to spend time doing, so that I'm literally not just sitting on the sofa reading and watching Line of Duty. So I thought this would be something to kind of give me a reason to get dressed, at least from the waist up, over the next few months whilst I desperately search for a job. And so yeah, that's another reason. Third reason is, since lockdown, me, like many other people, I suffered with my mental health, which happened in a way that it massively impacted on my physical health. So I've not been on form for the past year and a half, I'd say, and I'm getting better and I'm recovering, and part of that is me taking more risks, being the person I want to be, doing things that make me happy. So why not, basically? I like reading. I have things I can film on, so why not do it? Why not? What's stopping me? Something positive to channel my energy towards after a good few months of feeling a bit rubbish at myself. So that's probably the third factor in why I started this channel, and they all together have come to form the final push to do this, I suppose, if you want to call it that. But the next question is, what are some fun or unique things that you can bring to Booktube? I think, as well as bringing something new, I think I can bring the things that people go to Booktube for. You know, I don't think you need to do something kind of out of the box every time. For me, I know that, I watch loads of Booktube. I'm not just doing this, never having watched a video about books before. I know what I like, and oftentimes that's, why people watch certain types of YouTube, follow certain types of Instagram pages, because you like that thing, you know, you like what people are doing in that realm. So I think I can provide what people like about Booktube already. But on top of that, I think probably my USP, so to say, is, as I said earlier, my love and extensive now knowledge of art. I read a lot of books about art. I have read a lot of books about art. I own so many massively heavy and very expensive books about art. So I guess if that's something people would be interested in, and I would be interested in making it, just because having finished my degree, I'm probably not gonna have much of a reason to talk about it anymore. So making the odd video about it would be really nice. But yeah, definitely that is something that I think is potentially quite unique. And the next question is, what are you most excited about for this channel? Honestly, just being able to talk about something that I care about. I spend a lot of my time on my own, and I live with my parents currently, who are fabulous. I love them, but they have lives, they have things to do, they have TV series that they like to watch, and they don't have all the time in the world to sit and talk to me about books that I've read and they haven't. But I know there's a whole community of people out there that love hearing about books that someone else has read and they maybe haven't or have. So being able to gush about things that I love, and it not be weird just talking to myself in a dark room. Why do you love reading? To be honest with you, I'm not actually sure. I'm not sure why I love reading. I'd like to think of myself as an intelligent person who knows lots of things, and I do. I know lots of useless things about so many things, and I think you pick that up from reading. I think being able to engage with books and essays and newspaper articles and magazines, you learn things. You learn about things that you wouldn't have heard of otherwise. You learn a bit more about things that you already know a bit about. And that just means it makes you a bit more of an interesting person, I think. I think if you know, have having a conversation with someone and they mention something and you think, oh yeah, I've read something about that, or I think it does make you more intelligent. I think it makes you see the world bigger than if you didn't read. I think it just gives you like a massive backlog of references that you can refer to all the time throughout your life, in conversations, when you're writing, when you're reading, when you're watching TV. I think you just learn. What book got you into reading? Now this I don't think I can answer properly because I've always read. So I've always loved reading. I've always been a fast reader as well, which I think does help. I think when you can get through books quickly and easily, I think it makes you more inclined to read because it doesn't feel as much of a chore. So yeah, I've always loved reading. I can't think of a specific book that made me think this is amazing, just because I've always done it. I can remember books from when I was smaller that I've loved. The Magic Faraway Tree I really loved. I still read now. I liked a book by Jacqueline Wilson called Best Friends. And I didn't read a lot of Jacqueline Wilson when I was younger because my mum didn't really like me reading them because they're so heavy. They cover really important topics, but because I was a good reader at a young age, I was always a little bit more advanced than the books I was meant to be reading. So they were sort of the sort of books that I would read a little bit too early. So my mum kind of wouldn't really let me read them. But that one was just about a couple of friends, and one was, I think they're called Gemma and Alice. And I loved that book, loved it. What challenges do you think will be the hardest to overcome? I'm not sure. I'm not really kind of going into this expecting challenges. I'm just sort of hoping that it'll be fun. I'm not really going into this looking for popularity or anything. I just want to talk about books. So I don't know, I'm not really expecting challenges, because if it gets too challenging then the fun kind of gets pulled out of it a bit for me, I suppose. Maybe, I think sometimes when you do something because you enjoy it, it can sometimes just end up on the back burner because everything else takes priority, even if you don't, you know, jobs take priority because you earn money from them and XYZ. So maybe keeping it a priority will be difficult. It's like sticking to it, but time will tell. When did you start reading? I've already answered this at points in the video, for as long as I can remember. I remember learning to read at school and I hated it. I hated learning to read. I remember learning to read when there was no words in the book, but they'd have like pictures in it, and I think it was almost to get your mind working, and you'd have to just kind of like describe the picture. There was no words, like you'd make your own words. And I remember reading it and thinking, this is stupid, like what am I doing? This is pointless, what a waste of time. And I really didn't like learning to read. I found it really boring. But then I started to get good at it. And then obviously when I started taking my A-levels, probably my GCSEs, my A-levels, I just didn't have time for it anymore. I was working so hard. And my brain, my poor teenage brain, was doing so much in terms of puberty, and then I had to take all these exams on top of it, and my poor little body was so tired that the thought of picking up a book at the end of a school day, it just didn't cross my mind. I would just sit and watch RuPaul's Drag Race and the Mighty Boosh and just switch off. But then back in uni, probably from my second year, I got massively back into it again. Oh, that's not as warm as you'd want it to be. Next question. Where do you read? Anywhere. I read anywhere. I read on the sofa, I read in the bath, I read outside if it's not pouring down with rain. I love reading on holiday, I read on a plane, I read on the tube, I read in bed, I will read standing up in the kitchen when I'm making a cup of tea. I read anywhere. Don't matter, I'm not fussed. What kind of books do you like to read? This I think is currently in shift. I'm quite open when it comes to books that I read. I will kind of give anything a go. Recently this year, I've sort of set myself a bit more of an aim to read more classics, read more diversely, which is, you know, that's definitely on most people's radars at the moment, which is fantastic. I want to read, this year I've been trying to get more into like fantasy, and I'd like to try and get some more into sci-fi. Because kind of just like fiction and non-fiction I read a lot of. It's just trying out different things is something that I've been trying to do this year, so it's kind of in flux at the moment. One thing I won't read are like horror. Nope. I don't like to scare myself. I've got no interest in being scared. Somebody told me the plot to Chucky once. I've never watched it. Someone just described it to me. I didn't sleep for a week. My brain is not wired for anything scary at all. I can read like a thriller, like a kind of murder mystery sort of thing. Anything that's kind of like a bit too gruesome, a bit too graphic, that is designed to scare, no, not happening. No interest. What does your book collection look like? How to describe my book collection? Well, it's scattered, to say the least. I don't like reading ebooks. I just can't, because I think especially now I read so much online for university that when I'm reading something on a screen, my mind automatically kind of goes into scan mode, and I can't enjoy it because it feels like I'm doing something for you. Like it feels like I'm meant to be taking notes on it and meant to be really like focusing and taking it really seriously. So I'm not a screen reader. I have to have a book. I love books. I will carry a book around with me, even if I know I'm not going to get a chance to read it. I just like the feeling of holding a book. my book collection is large, because I'm also not very good at getting rid of things. Even if I have a book that I didn't like, know I will never read again, borderline despise, I will want to keep it. Because again, like, as much as I love reading, I also like physical books, and I like just having them around, which is something I really need to stop because it's getting out of control, because I'm currently living in my childhood home with my mum and dad, and I don't have a bookshelf. I have a desk with books, with spaces for books, but that's long since filled. And I think last summer I started just sort of like haphazardly, I'd finish a book and I would just put it on top of a piece of furniture, and it just, the pile just kind of got higher and higher and higher and higher. And now I have, I'll insert a picture if I can, just this kind of climbing wall of books, which is likely to collapse at any moment, and if I'm standing too close to it, it will certainly crush me. So I have a big book collection, but it's not organised in any way. I have books in boxes in my parents' garage. I have books at the top of my spare room wardrobe. I have books. I have a bookshelf at my house at university, which I haven't been into for the last 6 months because of everything that's going on. I have a bookshelf in my living room there, but that's mostly full of like big hardback art books for my degree. Excuse me. So yeah, it's mostly full of art books. My leisure books, if you will, they are just chucked on top of a chest of drawers until they all fall down, which I probably should sort out. But yeah, that's my sort of shameful book collection. That is all the questions. I hope that has given you a bit more of a insight into me, who I am, what I'm about, my reading habit. If there's anything else that you want to know, any burning questions, let me know. But yeah, hopefully that's given you a bit more of an insight to me and my life and my reading. I really hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was like a little gossip session for you. Hopefully I'll be back with another video soon. If you haven't already, go and look at the other video that I've recently posted, which is just a big book haul. They're always nice ones to watch, aren't they? Everyone likes to have a nosy. So yeah, go check that out. And I'll hopefully be back on your screen very soon. Bye.